One of the most common things that you'll experience as a guitarist is you'll be handed a very basic set of chords and told to play something interesting. So a singer might say, hey, the chords of this song are E minor, C, G, and D. Let's go, 1, 2, 3, 4, play something cool. And often you're expected to play guitar solos and a part of a song where someone in the band says, play a solo. So we're going to do a lot of that on this channel. We're going to talk about what I call creative guitar playing. In the beginning, you're going to spend a lot of time learning how to just play Stairway to Heaven or Dust in the Wind or Hotel California, things that are really common, and you'll build your chops and build your technique and learn how to play bar chords and some chords and strum and do things like that just by learning songs. But I think for most guitarists, these creative skills are really the most used skills and the things that really are interesting once you learn how to play a little bit. So start doing that. You need to learn a little bit about how chords and scales go together. And the most important part of that whole set of practical music theory skills is to understand how chord progressions work. We do that with what are called Roman numerals. Roman numerals are labeled by the notes in major scales. So when you play a particular pattern of notes on the guitar fretboard, they go up the fretboard like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That gives the common do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do sound. And you can start that anywhere. Play the same progression of skipped frets, and you'll get that same do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti note. You can start any note, and you'll get that same major scale in a different key. So what we're going to do here is talk about how to play chords based on those notes. If we start on the note G, that's the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and we count up like this. Start on G, number that first note, number 1, skip a fret, that note is number 2, skip another fret, that note is number 3, and then go to the 5th string. The same frets you just played are going to be frets 4, 5, and 6. So the key to playing the major scale is to skip a fret every time. Choose a starting note, a key note, a root note, in this case G, 3rd fret, skip a fret to A, skip a fret to B, then on the 5th string do the same frets. 3rd fret is C, the 5th fret is D, and the 6th fret is E, and if we skip another fret we get the note F sharp. We call that scale the G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. That's how you get the scale. And what we're going to do for our purposes to make chords is we're going to take that 7th note and we're going to play it down a fret. So instead of that F sharp here, we're going to play it on the 6th string, right here, 1 fret below where we started. So if the key note, the root note, is G, those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is right here, a fret below the 2nd fret, right below the 3rd fret G. Okay, so we get our numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If we start in another key, say we start on the 5th fret, that note is A, we follow that exact same fingering diagram. Skip a fret, then do the same thing on the next string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. We get a different set of notes. Those notes, when you start on A, are A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G sharp. That's what we call the key of A, the A major scale. If we do it anywhere else, we get a different set of notes. F is a starting note, then we get the notes F, G, A, B flat, C, D, and E, and those are the notes in the key of F. What we're going to do is play chords. We're going to do this in this video very simply just by playing simple power chord shapes on each of those numbers. We'll start in the key of G. So we have these notes, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. And we're going to count up to the number 6. So we do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That note is E. And with our pointer finger on that, we're going to play a little power chord. So power chord, if you haven't done it, is a ring finger or a pinky on the, in this case, 4th string at the 9th fret. So there's always a fret in between your root note, the chord note, and this power chord note. So I'm now on the 5th string, 7th fret, and the 4th string, 9th fret. And what we're going to do, that's called a E power chord. It's on the note E, I'm playing a power chord. We're going to hit that 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm doing that with a little palm mute here just to keep it quiet. And very importantly, I'm keeping my volume down a little bit, so it's about halfway up while we play this background rhythm. That, again, in the key of G was Roman numeral 6. It's a chord on the 6th degree of the scale. We did that for a measure. Now we're going to play the 4 chord, the Roman numeral 4 chord. So we're going to count up from G again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts our number 4 on the C note. And we're going to play power chord again. And then That was the 4 chord. We're going to play the next chord on the root note 1. So right where we started, on the G, play a power chord. It's the exact same shape in all these cases. I take my my root note, put the power chord note 2 frets up with a fret in between on the adjacent string. So this is the 6th string 3rd fret and the 5th string 5th fret. Again, we're going to hit that 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then from there, we're going to count to Roman numeral 5. So in the key of G, start on 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. We're going to hit that 5 times with the power chord. I'm sorry, 8 times. Okay, so what we just did was we played a Roman numeral 6, a Roman numeral 4, Roman numeral 1, and a Roman numeral 5. So 6, 4, 1, 5. So that goes like this. E, and 6, 4, 1, 5. Later on, we're going to make these chords much more complex, but for now, those simple power chords are enough for us to build a background progression that we can take a solo over. Okay, so let's do this in the key of G, and I'm going to use my looper pedal here. I'm going to delete the current recording that's in there by pressing the right pedal. And then I'm going to get my foot positioned on the pedal. It's really important that if your pedal is a little square with a start button here and a stop button here, you want to make sure when you're starting it that your foot comes in at an angle from this corner so that you don't actually position it over the stop button. You want to make sure your foot is sort of positioned off to the side here so it doesn't accidentally hit that other stop button while you're playing. Okay, so I got my foot positioned on the corner, getting ready to play. I'm going to count to 4 and play that Roman numeral chord progression. 5, 4, 1, and 5 in the key of G with those notes counted up from the starting note G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, which is E, 4, which is C, 1, which is G, and 5, which is D, and now I got the loop going, no longer playing. That chord progression is in the key of G. So what I'm going to do is take my pinky, put it up on a G way up here on the 15th fret. This is a G note. Turn my volume up. I'm going to play this scale. It's called a pentatonic scale. Put the pinky on the 15th fret. Then with one finger kind of hovering over each fret, one finger per fret, we're going to go 15 on the first string, 12, and then same thing on the second string, 15 and 12. And then on the next 3 strings, we're going to use our ring finger and go 14, 12. Same thing on the 4th string, 14, 12. And then 14, 12 again. And then back on the 6th string, we're going to go 15 with the pinky again. So we get this scale. Things we're going to focus on doing when it comes to creative guitar playing and taking improvised lead solos is learn licks in any of the scales that we learn that go with any of these chord progressions. So this is the simplest possible and probably best known chord scale relationship, is to play this pentatonic scale against a what's called diatonic chord progression, a simple chord progression in one key. Okay, so we get this scale, and one of the most basic things you can do is take the top note on each string and bend it, then come down and go to the other note. So on each string, we're going to bend. Let it down, and then go to the other note. And same thing on the next string. And then go to the 3rd string. You can do it on every string. And if bends are really difficult for you, you haven't gained the strength yet to do them, instead of a bend, you can do a slide. Instead of bending this top note, you can just slide up 2 frets. Oops, try it again. And then do the same thing on the next string. And then continue on. The 4th and the 5th string, it works best if you slide 3 frets. And then down here. Now, I call this the core bend. It's the most common bend that you see in lead guitar solos. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a guitar solo that doesn't have that core bend. So we've got our background going. I'm just going to do a little bit of that bending on different strings. Okay. And there are a couple of things that work really well with a core bend. It's really important important to get used to ending on each of the 3 notes that you just played. So we can do this. If we're on the first string, do the bend, the release, and then play the other note. And then do it again. So we end here on the 3rd note. Now do that same thing, but end on the release. So we're going to go chord bend, and then do it again, but don't play the last note. Now do it one more time. Same thing. Play the chord bend, and then do it again, but this time don't play the last 2 notes, just play the bend up. So what we just did was play a chord bend and repeat it. The first time we played the whole bend. The second time we only played the first 2 notes, and the last time we only played the first note. So we get this, all 3 versions. Here's the second version. Here's the third version. Now if we do that on every string, we get 3 licks per string. Do the second version, and then do the third version. Same thing on the third string. Same thing, but only playing the first 2 notes. And then only playing the first note. Now if we start to mix those up a little bit, with slides or bends. So those are called licks. Little phrases. They're kind of like words that you'll use to put together into sentences, into longer phrases. So the more of these licks you learn, the more you can do with the scale. Here's one more really, really common lick. Take a note, I'll do this one on the 4th string, I'm going to hammer on that string using the notes of the scale. Then I'm going to go to the next string. So 4th string, hammering on 12 to 14, and an ending on the 3rd string, 12th fret. And you can hear that everything I'm doing fits with that chord progression. Nothing sounds funny, nothing sounds wrong. No matter where I am in the chord progression, I can do that like here, I can do it here, I can do it here, do it here. Okay. And I can do that also on the other strings. So all these little licks and motives that you learn can be moved to any string in any position in any scale. So I just did that on the 4th string and then moved up to the 3rd string. Now I'm going to do it on the 3rd string and move up to the 2nd string. So I hammered on 12 to 14 on the 3rd string and then hit the pointer finger on the 12th fret on the 2nd string. So here's the first one I did. Here's the second. I can play them in any order, at any time. They'll always sound okay. And I can do the same thing on the 2nd and 1st string. Now, if I do the lick on this string, remember the scale looks like this. Pinky pointer, ring pointer, ring pointer, ring pointer, ring pointer. So I was playing the notes in the scale using my pointer and ring finger. If I'm on the 2nd string, I want to use my pointer and pinky. So this time I'm going to hammer on with the notes in the scale between pointer and pinky. Hit the 12th fret on the 2nd string, hammer on to 15, and then land on 12 on the 1st string. That's the same move, just adjusted to fit the fingering pattern of that pentatonic scale. If I do it on the 5th string, I'm back to using my ring finger, hammer on the 5th string, 12 to 14, and then hit the 4th string, 12th fret. If I use the 5th string, or the 6th string and the 5th string now, what I'll get is a hammer on the 6th string, 12 to 15, and then a 12 on the 5th string. That's all the licks we just did. Now just like that first lick, we can choose to end on different notes in the lick to make it sound a little different. So if I take this first lick, hammer on the 4th string, end on the 3rd string, I could choose to repeat it again, or I could choose to repeat it again and only play the first 2 notes. There's my lick. Now I'm just going to play the first 2 notes again. Okay. Now I'm going to do it again, play the lick and repeat it, but this time only playing the first note. So I've got 3 versions of that lick. Play the lick and repeat it fully. Do it again. Or play the lick fully and play just the first 2 notes of it. or play the lick fully and play just the first note of it. Well, so a couple different versions. Well, they sound a little different because what your ear hears is that last note. Even though we're not changing anything in that motion pattern, we're just choosing to end on a different note, and it gives it a really different melodic sound. I can do that every string. That was both of them played twice. Now I'm going to play the second one, only the first two notes. And then I'm going to play the second one using only the first note. So I get this set of licks using that one little motive. Same thing on the first and second string. Well, you get some really interesting little variations. So now, we've got three variations of that lick and three variations of the first lick, the chord bend lick and this little hammer-on lick. I can mix them up. There's my chord bend lick. I'm going to do the same thing on the second string, but change which note I end on. Now I'm going to do the hammer-on lick and choose which note I end on. Do a chord bend there. Do the same chord bend and then on a different note. And then keep moving with that. All just those two licks. Okay, now, like in most cases, when I want to play something, I want to finish what I'm doing by turning my volume back down and playing with the chord progression so I can make a nice, smooth transition from that. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I just stopped that recording because I played along with it, played a little tiny bit louder than it, and now I can finish this up and be done. Okay, so that was the key of G major, and I played a pentatonic scale that started with my pinky on a G note. Now here's the kicker. We can do that exact same thing, starting on any note and using the same little formula. So, I'm going to delete this recording, and I'm going to do the same thing in the key of C. So, key of C is right here. It's on the 8th fret on the 6th string. I'm going to count up and find my major scale notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, those notes end up being C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. They're the white notes on the piano. No sharps or flats. So start on C and you get a major scale. That's just the letter names. And if I do that same chord progression, the same set of Roman numerals, which were 6, 4, 1, and 5, I get these notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an A. And 4, F. And then 1, C, just playing some power chords, and then G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The chords again are A, F, C, and G. Now there are a couple places you can find a C on 6th string or 1st string. That's at the 8th fret, right where we just found it. So if I put my pinky on that 8th fret and play that same pentatonic scale fingering that we did up on G, you're going to get a scale that works with this chord progression in the key of C. Put our pinky on the C and play pinky pointer, ring pointer, ring pointer, ring pointer, and then pinky pointer again. So I'm going to record this chord progression. Turn this down just a little bit, and I'm going to play our same Roman numerals that we played in the key of G. A, F, C, using power chords, that same shape, always putting the ring finger 2 frets above where the pointer is and on the adjacent string. So we're going to loop this now. I got my foot positioned just diagonally into the corner of the looper so I don't accidentally hit the other pedal. I'm going to count off 1, 2, 3, 4. F, C, and G. And here's the loop. You can hear that continues to go. I just hit the pedal and it continues to repeat. So now, turn up my volume a little bit, put my pinky on the key of C, pinky on the C note, same note place where we started the chord progression and play the scale. I can do all the same techniques that I did, the chord bend with its different variations, and the little hammer-on lick using all the different variations starting and ending on different notes. So here's our scale. I'm going to bend here. That's the chord bend. Remember, the chord bend is bend up, release it, and go to the other note on the same string. Or you can slide up a couple frets, come back down, and hit the other note. Sounds like this. Or I can do the same thing on the second string. Remember, on the second string, we use the pinky and pointer notes, so I'm going to slide this note up 2 frets, back down, or bend it up to make the same sound. Same thing on the first string. Do my hammer-on licks. And again, just whenever I'm on the first or second string, using my pinky note. When I'm on the other strings, I'm using my ring finger note. Here is just kind of ramble a little bit on the string. I might do a little bit of this, just jumping around and playing in the scale, and mix it in with some of those licks. So I'll do a chord lick, walk around a little bit, walk a little bit up, another chord bend, maybe do my hammer-on lick, walk down, chord bend, another hammer-on lick, another hammer-on lick, another hammer-on lick in a different string. Now walk. Maybe just stay on one string and go back and forth. Do a chord bend. You can see all these things are good sounding, simple little melodic phrases that you can string together. You can play them wherever you want in the chord progression, and they're going to work. Little licks like that you learn, the more you can do interesting sounding things. And one really important thing to get about all this is that we found a C here on the 8th fret to go along with our chord progression that started in C. We can find another C all the way up an octave or 12 frets higher. So instead of doing this, go up here, find the C 12 frets higher, and you get all the same notes. Do all the same licks. Playing, I'm going to turn my volume down and get back to that same progression, which was 6, 4, 1. And while I'm playing this, I'm playing the stop pedal, and I can finish the whole chord progression like that. So that covers a huge fundamental introduction to what you need to understand about how chords and scales go together. And a lot of what there is to learn about how music works, and how you can do interesting things on guitar that actually sound cool, is all about how you can add additional fingerings, additional licks, additional added notes, and how you can do technical things that continue to improve the sound of what you get out of a scale or a combination of scale and chords. And we have a lot to cover when it comes to learning how those chord progressions can be expanded to include other fingerings and fuller sounding chords. Right now we're just doing power chords. We have a lot to cover about how we can play those scales all over the fretboard and add notes to them and do interesting little technical things with them so that they sound great. So if you like this, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you think anybody might be interested in this material, please help the channel out by showing it to your friends and sharing it with other people. Stay tuned, and we'll continue with a lot more of how to do interesting, creative work with chords and scales. Thanks a lot.